All right, I think I made it through with the technical problems. Let's see now if audio works on Twitch. It does. And how about YouTube? All right. Okay, YouTube works as well. That's great. Yeah, I had some problems with Restream. Like, the whole UI changed and everything, and when I was clicking on streaming for YouTube, some weird shit started happening, so yeah, but I'm here right now. Hi, my name is Ado. I'm a game developer that dedicates this channel to learning more about game developer outside of my regular curriculum. I work as a gameplay programmer, and on these streams I like to explore topics that I know next to nothing about and I want to learn more. Kinda as if I was starting from zero. I did some design centered streams and I intend to do them to finish the series connected to that. And from time to time I jump into new plugin, new release of Unreal, or a feature that existed before and is widely used, but I personally never had the opportunity to wait, does the stream work on YouTube? And is widely used. Yeah, so I'm a little bit under the weather, so sorry for that up front. Yeah, and I want to let me jump into Paint real quick. I want to explore real-time virtual texture today, and I want to see if I can make it work with PCG. I never used real-time virtual texturing, I'll be honest. I work on a project that uses it, but me personally, I never had to interface with it at all. My only knowledge about this whole thing is coming from talking to tech artists, seeing some presentation, but I never clicked through anything. So the way I understand real-time virtual texture is that we have a texture in memory. It is virtual, we can access it in runtime, and we can save data to it and sample data from it, right? Which can be a powerful concept. Regularly, when I hear about it being used, mostly on landscapes, I heard from tech artists that it's used to create a better blending. For example, we have our landscape and we have our rock with some smaller rocks around it, right? And RVT helps to blend what is going on the landscape with the information at the edges of meshes that are put on the landscape, right? Better blend. That's from what I hear. But oh my god, I want to see what else I can do with it. So I wanted to see if I can use PCG or actors spawned by PCG to write to real-time virtual texture that is being set up for landscape. On last stream, I created this kind of PCG that treated the whole landscape basically as a world map, where y-axis equals 0 is equator. Hi Sion! What's up, man? How you doing? How is the Sunday treating you? Did you play WoW? yesterday or today, or are you planning to play World of Warcraft? How are you doing? So, on the last stream, I was treating y-axis 0 as equator, calculated temperature going up and down to North Pole and South Pole. And depending on the temperature, I was spawning either desert stuff or some moderate greenery, right? Or Arctic stuff. I don't have meshes for that, but that's the intentions. Those were the intentions. Sion says, I'm at Misiowy Poranek, so I ain't gonna hear what's going on. However, I am here. Nice. Have a good time there. And thank you for the support. Say hi to Maya for me. Yeah, so I was spawning basically my plants and rocks and meshes depending on the temperature, creating temperature based spawning zones, kinda sorta approximately simulating real life. Not really, but at least being inspired by it. But the way it looks, if we look at the project, if we look at the project, okay, we are spawning some desert cacti and some other smaller plants, some rocks and stuff, right? Here is the tropical forest, or something that is supposed to resemble one. Depending on the height, I also change what is being spawned. If we look closely, here we have cacti, here we only have tree stumps. On super high mountains, here we have tropical forest, and the higher we go, the tropical forest gets changed into something else. And then we have moderate forest, stylized. Depending on the height, either it will look like this, or it will have this kind of trees, right? Because I'm also taking height information into the account. And if we are in the height that is being considered high mountains, something like this is spawning, right? And it's all cool and dandy. I created this PCG rule set that is taking temperature calculated from distance to equator and height, and I can take my PCG, place it on any landscape, any level, and it will spawn things accordingly, right? That's great, but the texture, the material on the landscape is bland. It's gray. And I was thinking, yeah, I could hand paint something, but that kind of defeats the purpose of the rule-based PCG. What if PCG was able to write into the real-time virtual texture that is being used by landscape? Is it even possible? I'm not sure. I'll be honest. This stream is dedicated to finding out the answer. Like, will I be able to create PCG graph or spawn actors that will be able to write into landscape and add some color to the ground? So if I zoom out, I will be able to actually see not only the plants that I spawned and other detailed mesh, and that be the only indicator what ecological zone, what biome we are in, but also I could gather that info visually just looking at the ground, man. So that's what I want to find out. Will I be able, through PCG, use the information about temperature and height to spawn something that will color the real-time virtual texture that is being used on landscape? That is something that I want to find out. But because I never ever used RVT, we are going to start from the basics. Let's create a new level. It can be open world, yeah, sure. No, don't save anything. And we will be following Epic's documentation on this one. The reason being, last time I was doing, like, getting to learn something that already exists within the Unreal, and there exists documentation, I found out that the tools in that was 5.4 version of the engine, but the tools for the newest release at the time didn't match with the documentation, which means they updated the tool, they didn't update the documentation, and I had to troubleshoot why things aren't working the way they work in the documentation. And I learned that there's a new way of setting up something in a very specific thing in the chaos destruction. And that very specific something was deciding what material goes to the outside of broken, destroyed mesh, fractured mesh, and what represents the inside of a fractured mesh. The workflow that they were showing both in YouTube videos that they were showing and in the documentation was different than what you actually had to click. That's why I want to follow the documentation to find out if it is still valid, the documentation, or maybe I will show that, hey, it's not working that way, and I will find how you actually should click through it. And I don't blame them for that, for not updating a documentation as often as we wish, because Unreal Engine is such a big project, and when you have such a big company, it is really hard to keep up with the documentation. The fact that there is documentation at all is a blessing, in my opinion. I worked with big engine that didn't have documentation, and let me tell you, having anything is amazing. So let's type in RVT Unreal Engine 5, and let me bring it to the big monitor. Yay. All right. All right. So here we have documentation, but I see something stopped. No, it works all right. It's the restream that kind of fucked up. Okay. Yeah, something's wrong with my restream, however you want to say it. Okay, this is the documentation page for RVT, Runtime Virtual Texturing. Here's like the whole page with documentation, how it works, etc. But what we want to have is a quick start guide. They usually provide those. Workflow. Create runtime virtual texture asset. Add runtime virtual texture to the scene from the modes panel. Quantum virtual texture volume. Configure materials to write to RVT asset. Configure materials to sample from RVT asset. Set up one or more primitive components or landscape actors to render the RVT asset. For a step-by-step guide. Oh yeah, that's what we want. Quick guide. This guide refers to material found in the contact examples project available from blah blah blah. Blah 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 blah. Okay. I don't think I have content examples in that project, but we will manage. Yeah, I am going to use it on landscape. Okay, project setup. First, we need to enable the virtual texture support. Alright, let's do that. Project settings, rendering, real-time virtual, what the hell? RVT. Wait, it doesn't look right. Enable virtual texture support. Okay, enable virtual. Oh, I have it on already. Enable virtual texture support, enable virtual texture on import. Okay. Creating a runtime virtual texture asset. This is the asset that contains configuration detail for RVT. Okay. So we need to create real-time virtual texture runtime, not real-time, runtime virtual texture asset. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. Let's create a new folder for that bullshit. And will it be in texture? Yes, runtime virtual texture. Let's call it RVT. I don't know. Test. I'm very original here. Oh, I can increase the... Okay, whatever. What documentation says we should do next? Creating a runtime virtual texture material. In this step, we'll be using a simple landscape material to runtime virtual texturing for runtime virtual texturing support. In addition, we'll set up logic using some RVT specific material expressions. Hi, Dexterowski. Hello, shame on me, I can't watch because I'm at work. Oh man. Oh man. But it's good to have you here. It's good to have you here. And there's always a VOD on YouTube, right? I hope you have a nice day at work, man. Okay, I hope this new LIVESTREAM interface shows my messages to other people, but hi Dexterowski, hi. Have a nice day at work. So, let's follow the documentation along. We need to set up material to work with RVT textures that took, wait, what? Ah yeah, writing to RVT asset and sampling from RVT asset. Of course, I want to write to, as I said. I will have a, as I said, I can sample from RVT, right? And I can write to RVT, but In my case, I only want to write, but okay. Let's learn how to set it up. If you're not using the material from tandem examples, you can recreate it as shown above. However, keep in mind that you still need to properly set up material for use with landscape. Landscape quick start guide if you need the starting point. Okay. This material doesn't look that complicated. Some textures here. Yeah, I can just try to recreate it quickly. So, material RVT test material. Let's learn. Dexterowski says, at least it is sunny. Have a nice stream. I will of course watch VOD. Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. And it is sunny where you are. Okay. Here it is foggy and muddy and not a very nice day. But I'm glad that you have a sunny day. Alright, let's quickly recreate this material that they are showing here. So like 3 texture samples, okay. Texture sample, do I have like some... It looks like grass. Do I have some grass looking shit? I have grass D. Great, and I need to use lands. If I remember correctly, it is landscape layer blend for landscape materials, and I need to add this thing. Let's call it layer grass, and I need to connect this to it, right? I don't need to preview it to be told. Then like some soil looking thing or ground looking thing. Okay. Let's search for ground. Gravel. Yeah, I can have gravel. D. Okay. I'm just trying to learn this RVT, so for now it doesn't really matter that much. Okay, and snow color. Okay, I just need 2 layers really for that, and that goes into base color. Okay, that goes into base color. Then metallic goes into 0, of course, but it is already at 0. Then roughness is at half. Okay, it is at half. And then I need to set up, once again, landscape layer blend. Maybe I can just do this, just copy it, yep, and use the normals for these. So this was grass looking thingy, grass D. So let's search for texture sample grass. And it was grass D, so we need to normal here. Let's put it here, and then we need to have a texture once again, but it was gravel from what I remember, and we have normal here. Let's blend this in as well, and let's put it into normal, and yeah, and texture coordinates, of course. Okay, and I want to see if they are doing something very specific on the landscape. Not really. But I think I still I messed up. Yeah, let me save that, because I should have something here, right? I never set up landscape material. I'm not a texture. I'm not a tech artist. So let me quickly see if I'm messing up something here. Landscape overview, landscape quick start guide. Let me quickly turn on these two and yeah, scope paint, whatever. That I know. Creating landscape materials. Great. Landscape layer coordinates. I should have used landscape coordinates, not texture coordinates. But for sure, because I will be using real-time texture, real runtime virtual texturing. God damn, I'm messing this up. Okay, they're doing these things here. Layer blends, great. Okay. So the only thing that I should consider here is that they are using landscape coordinates for landscape stuff, and in runtime virtual texture RVT, they are using texture coordinate. I'm not sure really what to do with that, but whatever, we will follow how they are showing it for RVT. Let's do exactly that. So let's delete this. That's how they kind of set it up. I have 2 layers for now. I don't care. Beyond that, required material setup. Okay, they want me to... I need to make it even bigger so it will be more visible on stream. I need to use material attributes. Okay. So from what I remember, I need to do this, I need to do this, and this will break immediately. Virtual texture feature switch. Okay, I can do this. Virtual texture feature switch. If it's no, then I need to go with make material attributes. Let's go here. These are normals. Let's go here. This should go into metallic. And this was a value of half. It should go into roughness. That's good. Good shit. And they are saying, they are telling us to put it here. Yeah. Yeah, I only have 2 layers. 2 simple layers. Okay, I have it like they shown. Now runtime virtual texture output. Okay. And I'm setting it up in the similar way. 0 for specular and 1 for opacity. Okay. So let's do this. Real runtime. Why my brain constantly changes runtime to real time? I have no idea. Is that the node? No, it was supposed to be the output. Great. Runtime virtual texture output. Great. So the base color goes here. Specular, as they shown here, should be at 0 and opacity should be at 1. And let's connect the opacity, right? Let's connect normal. Let's collect the... yeah, metallic doesn't exist in here, so... but roughness does exist. Okay, we have it. Sampling from the runtime virtual texture. Ah, this is the node that I'm interested in. No, actually, the one that I'm interested in was just beforehand, writing to virtual texture. To RVT. Okay, now let's sample from RVT. Okay, might as well learn that shit. Make material attributes. Okay. Make material attributes. As simple as that. And runtime virtual textual sample. And what? Just hook up this? Connect these things? Specular, roughness, and normal? Okay. If it's just that, then it's just that. Where's normal, right? I can go like this, and then I can probably connect it like this. Select the runtime virtual texture sample node in the details. Okay. So here, if I'm sampling, I should use the asset that I created, which is this. Yeah, let's save it, as they are saying. Yeah, it looks exactly like that. Placing a runtime virtual texture volume. Place the actors in the place actors panel. Okay. And I need to set bounds to the landscape. Okay, okay. Let's see how that will work out. I don't think place actor mode exists here. I have something turned off, but I can always type in here. Yes, runtime virtual texture volume. Let's put it in here. Oh my god, it's so small. Okay, but whatever. My virtual texture should be this. And my bounce around actor should be... oh my god. How do you work with the partition thingy? Wow, that's the first question. When we have an open world situation with the world partition, perfectly song aligned. Jestem w dupie. O nie, znowu jestem w dupie. This song has a mind of its own. It always shows up when needed. Whenever there's a question or fucked up things happening, Jestem w dupie song comes in, which translates into English like I'm fucked. I have a problem, I'm fucked. It is an old ass song that I recorded with my friends in 2010. You can find it on YouTube. Toby1364 says, oh, I love Polish. I love Polish swearing. I think it's superior to every other swears in the world. Okay, but the question kinda still sorta remains that I'm not sure if they have the answer here. Because they are showing here a clear, nice example. Oh yeah, you have like the small landscape You click your bounds align actor and it aligns perfectly. But what if you are making an open world situation? You have world partition and you have proxies, landscape proxies. Can I just select landscape here? I can, but I think it might not work out. It might not choose correctly the landscape proxies and start using that as a virtual texture, but whatever. Okay, set bounds. Any actor sampling from or writing to the runtime virtual texture must be within RVT volume bounds. Sure. Let's say that. Select the scene actor, landscape, and in the details panel under virtual textures section, add element and draw in virtual texture. Okay. Let's select the landscape and all of its proxies. Okay, I don't see this virtual texture. Okay, let me type that in. Virtual. Oh yes, there it is. I should add my stuff here. Okay. I can save that in RVT. I don't know. RVT testing. Whatever. Thank you that you unselected everything. Okay. Virtual textures. We have our RVT test that was showing something, but I don't know what it was. Okay. Rendering actors to a runtime virtual texture. Drawn main pass always. Okay. Toby1364 underscore asks, I have a question about the blueprint editor. Does each node have a return type, or how is the program flow handled? Not every blueprint node has a return type. Let me break it down quickly, maybe. Let's create a blueprint, whatever, BP, whatever. The way it works, you have a couple of blueprint node types. You have these red ones. They are event type nodes, right? And they can have, they can pass an argument, right? They can pass a variable and its value. Like tick can pass the delta seconds for the given tick, actor begin overlap, who are we overlapping with, etc., etc. Then we have so-called green nodes. They will be signified by the green letter F for function here. These are the ones that will execute only when let's create a variable, some variable vector, only when they are being called on. So for example, game starts, event begin play gets called, then the next node gets called, which sets the value of some variable, and only when the node execution gets to this point, this green node gets executed. If it is unhooked or hooked like 2 nodes over, so for example here, this is the only place when it will get executed, right? And if it is connected to both of these nodes, it will get executed first time here and second time here. And then we have so-called blue nodes. If I will find something that will Oh yeah, duplicate data, for example. This is the typical execution node. It only executes if you hook up the flow execution line to it. You can select some data, and these nodes don't have to return value. For example, I can quickly create a function, call it some function. It will, I don't know, it will print some string on the screen, like for example, hello Toby1364 underscore, right? And this is the only thing that it will do. Let me delete that. And I can call that node. And as you can see, it doesn't really have a return type. So that is kind of how the program flow is being handled. You can have setter nodes, these kind of nodes. You can have green nodes that would... how actually they are being called? Because I can turn some function into a green node by forcing it as a pure function. And then this node will become a green node. But you have no way of calling it, right? Because you cannot hook execution flow to it. So that's why the pure functions, green nodes, are used mostly for getting stuff. Because that way you can actually execute them, because they will only execute if they are hooked to some variable. That's the only moment when they are being executed. Let's get back, turn off the pure function, and as you can see, it becomes a regular blue execution node once again, and it doesn't have a return type. So if you are working with variables, you can either use regular variables, and function you can create local variables, some local variable. You can, I don't know, set something for a local variable, 2, 2, 2. And then, if I click here and click output as a vector, I can return the value of this local variable. The local variable will always be signified by this little v with the dot. I can get back to the main graph, and now my blue node actually returns a value. And return type is always dictated by the output. So you can have a couple of outputs, and all of them can have different return types. And I click compile, and here I have lots of return types. If I convert this function to pure type right now, it can actually get called, because I can actually hook one of the return values into something, and that's where this pure function, green function, will be called. Let me get back to non-pure version. The warning will be called that, hey, that function was pruned from execution because the pin is not connected. If you are playing around with turning functions into pure and non-pure, and now it would get called. Did I answer your question, Toby1364? Or maybe I should elaborate some more, or maybe I said it in such a way that it is not understood at all. Basically, you can, for your own node, you can create your own return values, and each one can have a different return type. Macmatek says hi. Hi. Hi, Macmatek. How are you doing? How is this Sunday treating you? Toby1364 asks, if a function has no inputs or outputs, will it only have a flow lines? Yes. Yes. Macmatek says, I just woke up. Ask me in 1 hour. Okay, I get you. I also don't understand what is my state of existence after I wake up. I completely get you. That's how I was today. That's how I am every day after waking up. So, Toby1364. If the function has no inputs or outputs, we will force this exact situation. Delete, 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 delete. This is our function. It won't even work on local variable. Let's destroy that. It just does some processing underneath. In this case, it is printing hello Toby1364 underscore. And then the function will only have the flow lines, execution flow lines, nothing else. Exactly, as Magmatex says, execution blueprints is represented by white execution line. What's not connected to the flow will not be executed. Exactly. And pure functions only execute if they are connected to something and if the node they are connected to is being correctly executed. And there is something that, when it comes to optimization, that needs to be remembered, that for example, I could do it like this, get actor scale 3D, hook up to setting free variables like this, and it would be okay, but it actually the function, if this pure function underneath was doing some heavy processing, it will get called 3 times. So it was much better to, for example, just use it once and then save the result of whatever it is being calculated in this function, and then maybe use the results of that calculation somewhere later and assign it to some other variables, pass it to other functions, etc., etc. Oftentimes I see people making this kind of nodes that you have one pure function being connected to like 10 setter nodes or some execution nodes. And if the operation is as fast as get actor scale 3D, then yeah, you probably won't even see it affecting the performance. But if that function would be super heavy, it might produce a performance spike. So it's better to kind of do it like this. Toby1364 asks, can you do multi-threading in Blueprint? You know what? I never attempted to do multi-threading in Blueprint. Let's see. I only did it in code. Let's turn on the context sensitive. No, it doesn't look like that. And I think it is for a good reason. Because it would be like handing the shotgun to developer and making him point into the leg, right? And shoot themselves. Yeah, like I can easily see why. I mean, first of all, I'm not 100% sure, but I might guess that my guess is that the Blueprint virtual machine that interprets all of those blueprints and executes them probably runs on the main thread. So coming up with the way how to make this virtual machine create something for a new thread and execute there probably would be a nightmare, and probably shouldn't be used anyway, because blueprints are meant to execute mostly game logic, so it should be done on a main game thread. There is something called asynchronous tasks that you can write from C++, and that's the place where you could probably hook up multi-threading. NCB of Olgea says, new viewer jump scare. Ah! Hello, how are you doing? How is this Sunday finding you? Hi. Yeah, so when it comes to multi-threading, the blueprints are executed on the main thread, and if you really want to do something on the other thread, I would look into asynchronous tasks that you can use in Blueprint. For example, you have this async load primary assets, in which you can tell the main thread like, hey, I want to load some asset, but I don't want to pause the game for that shit, right? So you're using that, and once it's completed, probably on the other thread, it will execute this flow, and you can do something with the loaded asset. So you won't stop your game mid-playing because you need to load in something. NCB of all Gaia says, I'm doing freaking incredible today. I'm glad to hear that. I'm really glad to hear that. It inspires me, you know, because I woke up and I was like a little bit under the weather, to say. But right now I'm getting more like full of energy thanks to y'all. So I'm glad to hear that. And I hope your whole day will be incredible. Toby1364 asks, or says, I'm just asking because I'm trying to make a node editor for Rust that will be able to interpret code. Oh. Yeah. I understand why are you asking right now. Yeah, so in the Unreal blueprints, the only way to do asynchronous multi-threaded operations is through those async nodes that you have to write from C++. That is an engineering choice. I don't know too much about Rust, but I would say there is a good reason why Epic chosen to not give multi-threading functionality, creating new multi-threading functionality from within the blueprint. And that is probably figuring out how to do any type of safety locks on data, or setting up any guards against race conditions, etc. would be super hard. So they were like, well, probably most blueprint users won't bother with multi-threading, and programmers will just use C++ to create asynchronous actions, right? I don't know how hard it is to set up from Rust, because I never written in Rust. But that's how they chose it, I guess, because I never worked at Epic. NCB of all Gaia says, today is my 5th day of working on my game. Oh, nice. What game are you working? Out. What type of game? What genre? What engine? Is it Unreal Engine or something else? Maybe Godot or your own engine? Toby1364 says, it's not that different. Ah, from C++. Okay. I want to one day dedicate some time to like learn a little bit of Rust offline. That would be really cool, because I heard that it is a cool language to learn, and I know that there are some efforts around the world to create a game engine for that. So I am looking forward to that. NCB of all Gaia says, it's a roguelike, Souls-like open world game on Godot. Nice, Godot. I love Godot developers. I love that. I love that engine. I love the idea of that engine. I fully support all of the endeavors. Roguelike, Souls-like open world game on Godot. How is working on open world game on Godot? Like, do they have a nice package for that? Like nice tools? Toby1364 says, Bevy is good enough for game development. You can develop games in Rust already. Yeah, I heard. There is this game. I played it on stream for a little bit when I was doing a stream on wave function collapse heuristics, or algorithms, I should say. Because there is a plugin for that in Unreal, and I wanted to check that out. I checked it out. For spawning meshes, it was okay, but when you wanted to spawn actor, it didn't work out. I looked into the code. It's supposed to work out. I tried to fix that. It didn't, and I decided, well, I guess either I don't know something or the plugin is abandoned or something. And I played, oh my god, what was the name? Townscaper. And I guess it uses Bevy, and there's this new game from cozy genre that is also about building like little castles. I forgot the name of it, but it's done in Bevy, and I was reading about that. I was reading the interview with the developers when they were saying, yeah, Rust is good and Bevy engine was great for their game. NCB of all Gaia says, in regards to my question of open world games on Godot, you make some parts of the world in Blender and place them together on the engine. That's the easiest way. Ah, okay. Okay, I get it. And does Godot handle like automatically like some type of world partitioning and loading it for you, or you have to create the logic for that on your own? How does that work out? Like managing loading parts of world and streaming it in. Toby1364 says Bevy is all ECS. Oh, that's good. That's good. I love ECS. In Unreal there is something called Mass. It is their version of ECS. I used it in my day job, and at the beginning it was funny because there was no documentation. There was only like some posts on some Chinese social media network for developers, and me and my colleagues were using a Google Chrome translator to like see what they worked out because we needed ECS for our project heavily. And once Epic revealed Mass, we were like, well, I know it's experimental, but we need that. Otherwise we need to come up with some other solution. And we were translating those posts, setting up everything. It was in rough experimental state, but right now it is in an awesome state. And I love ECS because it forces such a clear architecture in so many cases. But there are some cases in which it is a little bit harder in ECS. But all in all, I love the separation of data and the logic. I love that. So I love the fact that Bevy is all ECS. I would love to sit down to learn. Is it a viable task? Tell me, Toby1364. I never learned Rust. I don't know how to use it. Is it viable to just run Bevy and try to learn Rust while using Bevy? Or is it way too much and I should just start with simple hello world type of deal with the Rust? NCB of all Gaia says, in regards to Godot, as far as I know, Godot can automatically handle the collisions, and that's all I know. Okay. Sure. Okay, let's get back to business. I don't have the time to play around. What is this? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, I need to stop before I get copyright claim by Marshall Mothers. That would suck. For 5 seconds of lyrics. Although it wouldn't be him personally, it would be some grifter. Whatever. Where I was with the runtime virtual texture. Yes, I wanted to add rendering actors to runtime virtual texture. I added some virtual texture volume, and in the example they were using non-open world environment, so it worked out nicely. I am using open world environment with world partitioning. Let's see if this is the moment where documentation of Epic diverges from real life. Let's see that. With your landscape material setup, other scene actors can be set up to render into the runtime virtual texture, such as the road spline, following the terrain. Any actors that are set up to output to a runtime virtual texture are within the place RVT volume will be captured. Blah 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 blah. Navigate to modes, drop down menu, select landscape. Blah 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 blah. Okay, they are creating some splines. And they already have a mesh for that. Great, I don't. Under material slots, open its material editor. You can just output it to the runtime virtual texture. Then you set up on the spline, I guess. Yeah, landscape spline to output and hide primitives, and then it's supposed to start writing into the texture. That's great. I don't have this mesh. Toby1364 says, it's an option, but the ECS syntax takes it pretty far from the vanilla Rust experience. Oh, so probably first try some projects without it. It feels like a different language to me. You have to work very differently. Okay, so you're saying it is better to, if I were to take on the task of learning Rust, just for my, own curiosity's sake, I should start with like hello world and some regular Rust stuff, and then after I have a good understanding, jump into the Bevy, and then look at how they implemented ECS, etc. I will have an easier time because it's basically almost like a different language. Okay, I get you. Yeah, it's kind of similar to C++ in Unreal Engine. You learn regular C++, you use it, then you jump into Unreal Engine, and then there are all these macros and very specific things outside of regular C++ STD that you kind of have to wrap your head around. Yeah, similar situation. Similar situation. And NCB of all Gaia, what language are you using in Godot? Are you using the GD script? Are you using Python? Or I remember that they also added support for C++ and other languages. What are you using for your game? I will try to do what they are saying here, but I don't think my landscape works at all. I love that stuff, but let's see. I want to paint something. There are currently no target layers. Great. Assigned to this landscape. Use the buttons above to add new ones or populate them from the materials currently assigned to their landscape. Nice. None of this stuff works. Great. NCB of all Gaia says GD script, the default one. Okay. I also want to one day find some time and get down with the Godot. I remember Godot in like 2014 when I went to one game jam, and the dude next to me was working out the game jam game in Godot, and I was like, what is this? But it was in a rough shape back then, and then I saw like the Pirate Software streaming Godot, and it looked a little bit different, way more feature complete. I started to get interested in that, and it looks like an amazing engine right now. Toby1364 says, not really easier. It doesn't matter with which you will start, but you will have to learn the other way when switching. Starting with Bevy might be even easier, although now I'm thinking about it, the borrow checker would make you go insane. Start with Rust. Okay. I get it. Yeah, one of my friends from work, he was switching from Unity to Unreal at our day job, because I work at Creepy Jar. Our first game was Green Hell. It was done in Unity, and then our new game that we are working on is called Star Rapture, and it's done within the Unreal. And my friend was jumping from Unity to Unreal, and there is like this whole page from Epic. Hey, you are jumping from Unity to Unreal. Here's the things that you should look at. Here's how this concept relates to the Unreal, etc., right? But my friend programmer had insane task to start with. He was supposed to work with AIs en masse, which is ECS, that is an experimental plugin connected to game ability systems within Unreal, which is like trying someone to teach how to swim by dropping them into the middle of the ocean, freezing ocean, and telling them, well, survive. And he did, but his first 2 months, oh my god, he was staring, he wasn't really happy. he was getting crazy, not only learning a new engine, trying to remind himself of C++, and then working with the experimental plugin and translating Chinese posts. That was insane. Okay, I have a problem because I cannot paint. Here, my material, I don't think it works out. Toby1364 asks, in what case do you use F16? F16? I don't know what do you mean by F16? Do you mean the combat jet? The airplane? Ah, 16-bit float. Okay, okay. I'm not really sure. I think Unreal switched to... I don't have code editor, of course. I think the Unreal switched when it was doing the jump either from 4 to 5 or between 5 and 5.1. I don't remember, but I think they were using double for world coordinates because they wanted to produce really big open worlds. And yeah, but that type exists in Rust, and I'm wondering why. 16-bit float. I don't know in the case of Rust, but if I was kind of shipping something and I was seeing that my memory padding, basically the variables that I have that are floats, for example 32 bits or 64 bits, right? They are taking much more space, and if I was kind of sure that, yeah, 16-bit float limit is the only thing that I need for these variables, I would use that just to save up on some memory. That's the reason I would use after profiling, or if I knew from the get-go that, yeah, I only need 16 bits, nothing more. So that's the case where I would use it. Like, I need some real value, but not bigger than 16-bit minimum and maximum value, right? Or, yeah, basically, yeah, that would be the reason. Memory savings. And I don't need that much of a value range. Yeah. Okay, I need to figure out why my... yeah, I didn't assign material here, right? Yeah, I have a procedural grid. That's why I cannot paint, of course. Let me set this thing up here. And it looks awful. That's great. I am used to that. You're trying to set up something, and then you're like, okay, let me paint that, and it's awful. Yeah, let's delete this layer. I haven't painted landscape layers in eternity. Okay. Layer grass. That does nothing. And this fog is awful. Resizing virtual texture post size changes are not saved by default. To keep changes, copy from transient to fixed post. Well, I haven't been able to read through that. Yay! Let me do... Why can't I really draw in here? Okay, I want to check something out. Let me do save as landscape matte test, whatever. Let me delete all this stuff for a hot second. Let me add landscape. landscape layer coordinates. Let's set up here because right now I am trying to follow the Unreal documentation and things don't work out as I want them to. So this is the moment that I was trying to get into, because sometimes you're just following the Unreal or whatever tutorial and you realize, okay, there's been update to the engines, it doesn't work like how they are saying it works, or there's some hidden knowledge somewhere, and I want to find this hidden knowledge right now. I have this, I have some textures set up in here. Great, passing it into base colors. Everything looks correct. Then why? Let's set up the other material. Where the hell is it? This material. Weevilman says, good day, bud. Have enjoyed previous streams and your whole deal, dude. Good on you. Oh, thanks, man. Thanks, man. Good day to you too. Thanks. Pashi. Hey, Pashi. I have some hidden knowledge for you. Oh, please pass it on me. I would accept gladly your hidden knowledge. Share it with me. Okay, so right now, what is going on in here? When I change the landscape material to like a regular landscape material, not using RVT, my layers look like they are working. At least I think. Let's see if I can paint anything. Not really. What the hell? Base landscape, flat middle. I'm not really sure how that... This layer has no info assigned to it. You must create a assigned layer. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, base landscape. This layer also has no info assigned to it. Something changed within the... This layer has no layer info assigned to it. How do you assign a layer info? That is interesting. Or should I add something? Magmatech says, see, there says none on your material. Yeah, but I cannot exist. I cannot exist. No, I cannot choose anything from here. Click the plus. Oh, yeah, you're right. Weight blended layer, none. Okay. You're right. And now, of course, thank you. I haven't used this landscape tools in eternity. Thank you, Magmatech. Thank you. I completely forgot about that stuff. So it's on me, not on Epic's side. I want to be fair. It was me forgetting how this stuff works out. And what? And now I could paint on it, right? But it's fully painted on, so right now I could do some other stuff. Okay, and if I choose this, I can also create like weight blended layer, blah, blah, blah. It will create this thing. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Magmatech. Thank you, Weevilman. I forgot how this stuff works out, really. Okay, so not everything is lost here. Like I thought I can. What is going on in here? Huh. That's how it looks like. And what happens if I go like this? Nothing. Okay, but we are trying to edit base layers. Let's do the subtractive blend. I want to have even bigger size of thing. I want to paint gravel. Am I a dumbass? I am a dumbass, but that's not the question I wanted to ask. Like, I really forgot how to use those tools. And I wanted to use PCG to use RVT to paint on the landscape. And I forgot how to paint the landscape by hand. That is great. Base layer has to be non-weight blend, I think. Okay, okay. So I should probably delete. No, that's not. Can I edit it on the fly? Can I change it to? No, I can't. Okay, so how can I fix that quickly? Should I click this? Okay. And let me reclick create layers from assigned material. And I'm fucked. I cannot click plus anymore. That's great. So it means I should probably do something like this. Delete those layers. Delete the landscape layer info from. I wonder if the engine will crash. It doesn't. Great. Create this. Yes, that's what I wanted. And plus non-weighted blend. And let's see that. Non-weighted blend once again. And will my painting work? Not at all. That's what you get when you are a programmer and you are trying to do non-programmer tasks, but that's why I stream. I want to learn this stuff. Okay, none. Of course. That was intelligent for me. I clicked the painting restrictions on my own to existing layers only when I should have no restrictions. Great, now it works out. I can paint in. Alright. So regular landscape painting works out with my material, right? Let's get back to RVT. Let's hook up once again my RVT material. It has two landscape layers, grass and gravel, the switch for virtual texture, Weevilman says, oops, pardon me, I think subsequent layers are weight blended, just not base. But it's been a while for me. Macmatic says, cool. And Weevilman says, oh no, you're good. Yeah, I figured it out. Yeah, that's the thing. Tell me if you can relate to this, but usually so many of the problems that I encountered, I kind of created for myself. Sometimes I am fighting against, you know, the engine or something in the day job, but oftentimes it's like, why does this thing don't work out? And then I realize I made a typo in a variable or something, and I was like, oh my god, or a tag. And I'm like, oh my god, I just spent an hour debugging why some gameplay ability doesn't work out where I just made a typo in tag reference or whatever. And it's like, oh my god, what's going on? Okay, so RVT. RVT. We have materials set up as they wanted, with the exception that they are using texture coordinate, not landscape coordinate. Let's try how they did it, and I will swap to landscape coordinate if this thing won't work out. But I have this RVT material. Let's assign that to my landscape. It's saved. Okay, that's cool. I'm not sure if it worked out, but I have my RVT test material. It even produced some preview. That's great. Let's click landscape and paint. For some reason layer grass looks exactly how layer gravel. Did I... No, the textures are correct. Okay. And can I still like paint here? Yeah, but I think I have to do the same thing. Delete this and delete this. Get in here and delete it. And create layers from assigned material. Okay, once again, non-weighted, whatever. And layer grass. It's funny, when the material is RVT, it makes an error and it is using the same exact texture, or there is not an error and it is more likely I don't know something. Because right now I will be painting here, nothing will be happening because it looks like it uses a wrong texture in here. Okay, that's why we are here, to learn RVT. This is the material they told me to set up, rendering actors to a runtime virtual texture. And there's this example with the spline. Do I have this mesh that they are referring it to? SM Street. Do we have that or not? Not really. Great. Do I have content example to bring it over? That's the good question. But do I really need to go with that? Let me read through it. Because the only thing that it is trying to do is use the spline to render the problem is that from what I get from this documentation, my landscape right now kinda should look like the previous one. I'm not really sure. But it kinda looks alright, but I cannot write the grass information for some reason. Let's use landscape coordinate and hook that everywhere. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe not. Shaders prepared, landscape, paint. It still shows that, but I can paint actually. Okay, so important thing. Here they are showing to set up real-time virtual texture shader material for landscape to use texture coordinate. In order to be able to paint on that stuff, I needed to change the texture coordinate to landscape coordinate. That's not in the documentation. Toby1364 asks, are you staying hydrated? Yes, I am. Oh, why is it the sad face front? No, the smiley face. Yes, I am. Although my tea is running out, but I have another beverages set up to my side. Okay, so we do have RVT sorta set up. Now, from what I understand, I should be able to like put an actor in here And if I set up the actor correctly, it should put something, it should paint something on this render real runtime virtual texture. Maybe with the render target, I'm not sure. So let's figure that out. Are they saying something, anything like this in here? Runtime virtual texturing workflow, runtime virtual texture asset. Runtime virtual texture. Normal storage, that's not necessarily that. Virtual texture material expression, that's all cool. But scene component output properties. Oh. Virtual texture path type. Setting LOD, object sort priority, streaming virtual texture build. Optimization, that's not really what I'm trying to search for. So let's search Unreal Engine 5, RVT, painting into landscape. Let's go with that. Draw into landscapes with Unreal Engine 5, lazy tutorials. Ah, perfect. Minute 34. The guy creates a material. He set up virtual texture output like we do have. He creates some type of material, then creates runtime virtual texture and render target. Whoa, 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 whoa! Hold the hell up. Playback speed 0.5. The guy did the runtime virtual texture and the render target. Okay. The render target. Okay, he set up this. He set up the volume. Okay, we also have set up the volume. And how did he achieve that? Oh, he changed the volume into blueprint. Okay. He set bounds to test terrain. Okay. Then he chose the cube that he attached to his character. Used the M brush that he created that writes to real-time virtual texture. Draw in virtual texture. It is on cube that he used. Draw in virtual texture and draw in main pass never. Probably, right? Yeah. Landscape material, of course. And another material that draws to this other material is translucent. Okay. Then he takes RVT color, texture coordinate. Wait, hold up. Okay, he's using this. And then he's setting up the render target on the landscape. Ah, okay. So he's doing that. So it's a little bit different setup. And it will only work in play. Oh, goddamn. Drone. Okay. I get it. So what he did is he used the render target as a landscape material, from what I understand. And he's just painting to that using runtime virtual texture. And that way he is able to do that. Okay, but it is in the gameplay time. What about the editor time? Of course. How is it called? Time to TTD, right? It is 1 minute and 30 seconds for this guy. Okay, so he does it like that. If I understand him correctly.
To RT material, set the blend
JD Husk W says, hello, hi, how are you doing?
mode to translucent. Add a white RT capture into the landscape material and connect it to the base color.
Yeah, render target here. Okay. But I want to use PCG, not the character and a cube to draw in landscape. Transient pools to fixed pools into no, but I want this to be resized. I don't mind to constantly resize. Why does he talk like that guy in the video? Yeah, I have a slow down playback speed because he did something super fast and I wanted to see what exactly he did. Okay, so what I'm trying to set up here, JD Husk W, is basically I have this scene. Let me jump back to my scene. Yeah, sure, save landscapes. In some previous streams, I used PCG and the new nodes within it, procedural content generation, right? To treat my whole landscape as if it was the world and treating the y-axis as the equator, right? And I was calculating the temperature, how they are changing from the equator to the North Pole and South Pole. Based on the temperature and the height, I am spawning assets. So we have deserty assets right here. We have some tropical assets right here. If you're going on the height, the tropical assets change into mountain tropical assets. Of course, they are not real assets. This is something that I found from free packages that Epic distributed, right? Then we go into more temperate climate, moderate climate zone, and on plains we have this type of vegetation biome, and highlands we have something like this, and in something that is being considered mountain range, it is something like this. And it is all cool and dandy, but the landscape looks gray. And the idea of this rule-based PCG spawning is that you are spawning things on a landscape, and you can take this volume, this whole PCG graph, and put it on whatever landscape it would work out. But then you would have to create your landscape material, either painted by hand, which would be paint in debug, or use other tools to paint underneath it. And I wanted to first of all learn about how real-time virtual texture works, how to set it up, etc. And then I want to see, which is right now, I want to see if I can use PCG to basically start, like that guy in the video, painting the colors that I want, for example, deserty colors, deserty texture in here via PCG. Or spawn an actor in PCG that would be able to just color big chunks of landscape. One of these two solutions. Either PCG directly writing into real-time virtual texture, or render target, or an actor doing that stuff. So that's what I will right now try to attempt. So maybe let's jump. I don't think I need that anymore, at least for now. Let's jump back into the PCG, to my PCG graphs. Let's jump into my main PCG graph. Here it is. I don't need this anymore, I think. Am I using it for something? Not really. Yeah. I have subgraphs that are calculating temperature and stuff. They are filtering temperature, outputting points for desert, rainforest, moderate climate, and subpolar biomes. I have height filter. I haven't really spawned anything on subpolar biome because I don't have meshes for that, but right now we are trying to color landscape. And then I was basically choosing what subgraph will be executed on each of those things, and those subgraphs can be chosen from, from here. I can swap in and out those graphs. And these graphs are really just simple because it's just a density filter for points, and it refers to another subgraph that creates one big mesh and two surrounding circles with points in it that I can use to spawn something. And I think here, this is the graph that I would love to start using to spawn some landscape information. And I only have landscape data like this. Okay, but I have anything for texture. I have sample texture and get texture data. I used sample texture and work. What is the difference between sample texture and get texture? Samples color of texture at each point. Generate points by sampling the given texture. I'm not really sure I understand the difference between these two. Samples color. This is also sampling, and I can choose what is being sampled. Okay, question for later, but I cannot. Maybe RVT? No, I don't have nodes to affect the landscape from PCG. So I have to spawn possibly invisible blueprint actors that will be creating some kind of color in the landscape. Okay, so I can get back to my RVT testing map and firstly play around with this blueprint actor. Kinda how they did it. In the clip, but I need a quick break, so I'll be back. Let me type that in. I'll be back in a second. I need a real quick break. So I'll be back in a hot second. See you in 2 minutes. I'm here. I'm back. My name is Adorozo. I'm back. I'm back. I need to stop singing or I will be copyright claim it. Okay. So I want to just place a blueprint in here in the editor time. Without hitting play button, I want to affect the landscape. That is something that we will have to work out. So let's work that out. RVT test. This is my stuff. First of all, the change in here, I guess, is that I need to basically create a render target, right? Render target landscape. That's how we will name it. We can change this to like, I don't know, maybe ×2. Yeah, let's change it to something like this, 2K. And from what I understood from the video, I should create a material right now, landscape material. That will be just outputting the translucent landscape material that will be outputting the render target to the base color of it. Let's see if that is the case. Material M render target to matte, whatever. And now render. No, it should be just texture. First of all, the guy was using translucent, right? I think. Here I should use the render target, right? This is mine. Okay. And just hook up the base color from what I remember. Yeah. Let me quickly check that, because I think I'm messing this up. Yeah, it wasn't translucent. What the hell am I doing? It is just opaque. Whatever. Yeah, and let's assign that to our landscape. So we need to take our landscape. We need to... I'm lost in all of my windows. I need that. This, and this. Then I kind of need to get into landscape. Delete those. But shouldn't I create a layer for that? That seems odd. Let me delete this thing from here. Yeah. I hope the engine won't crash on me right now. Oh my god. Okay, let's create a new level. Open world. Yeah, I want to test it always in the open world business. Let's save it as save current level as RVT. Render target. Now, landscape once again, and my where the hell was it? Render target to material. Yes. Use that. But shouldn't I use like also landscape coordinates? Exactly. Yeah. And maybe just like that guy. Let me make a quick other material that will create the spot. M brush spot. Yeah, whatever. And radial. The base color. Where is opacity? Am I blind? Yes, I am, because it's not a translucent material. Now it works out. Okay, I also in this new scene, I need to add, because I want to use RVT. RVT, no, runtime, virtual texture volume, yes, of course. I need to convert it to blueprint, yes, of course. BP, RVT, volume. Okay, great. Now I should create a new runtime virtual texture for us. Runtime virtual texture. RVT. How to call it? Drawing catcher? Drawing catch? Something like this. We can make it like this. What settings did we use here? We went 1K. Okay, great. Let me check quickly what the guy did. Okay, now in the virtual texture we need to use our RVT drawing catch. Great. And of course select landscape here. Landscape, whole landscape, set bounds. Okay, I think we have it. Let's save that, and now let's create an actor. That's the actor that we will be spawning via PCG. So blueprint, actor, BP, brush. I cannot write. Brush actor. Let's get back to it. Brush actor, right? And it will have, I don't know, like a cube, whatever, something that I need to have material with, right? And from what I understand, I should use this brush spot material that I have in here. Great. I should probably also do something like this. Multiply that color, let it be orange, like Half-Life 2 orange. Yep, and let me edit. Do I want to edit? Not really. Yeah, it can be like this, I don't care. Yeah, and my brush actor is like this. Okay. I messed up. I messed up big time because that's not how it's supposed to go. I should just do like this, and this will be my brush, but I need another RVT material strictly. RVT brush, whatever. I don't have white space characters. Okay. RVT brush. I had it at the beginning. Okay, so here is where runtime virtual texture output. So instead of putting it here, that's where I will input radial, gradient, exponential, and I will put it in here and in opacity and in here. Yeah. So we are writing to runtime virtual texture, if I understand this correctly. And now our cube also should have virtual texture. Virtual texture, yes, draw in virtual texture. And here is where I should input my RVT drawing catch. And it should never be rendered in main pass. I'm kind of getting lost in this guy's tutorial right now. It's funny, it lasts a minute and 30 seconds, but I don't understand a couple of steps. That's how usually it goes with tutorials for me. So let me quickly assess this thing. Okay, okay. I think I get it. Toby1364 asks, did you ever use the signed 8-bit integer? I think so. Yeah. Yeah, like when I needed something to count and I knew that the values were positive and I didn't need a big range. Sure, I were using 8-bit integers. But for the sake of padding in the memory, if I was using one 8-bit integer, I was trying to make sure that, at least that's how it works out in C++, that I would be creating like a couple of those in a row so I could pad out the memory. Yeah, I know, signed means minus 128 to positive 127. Yes, I was using it for like simple counts where I knew that, I don't know, I only really need to count to like 60 or 5 or whatever. But these were like the optimization things that, at least right now within Unreal Engine, when doing something in blueprints, I think I can only specify between integers 16-bit and 64-bit, or 32-bit and 64-bit. But in code, in C++ code, yes, I use signed 8-bit integer, where I knew that the count for whatever I was doing with the variable, but usually it was like I was trying to count something, would be low. These are the only usages that I really use. These are the only times that I really use that. When I'm thinking right now, whenever I was doing some more hardcore maths than just counting how many times something occurred, and I needed an integer instead of floating point, I just used regular integer 64. Why not use unsigned? Oh yes, sorry, yes, I completely, right now I have a brain fart. Yes, I completely read that question and I had a brain fart, sorry. Signed, yes, of course, as you understood, I was talking about the unsigned version, but signed from minus. Let me think. I don't think so. A signed 8-bit integer going from minus 128 to 127. Unless it was for some UI HUD purpose when I was creating like a visual counter of, I don't know, how much money the given character has, but even that would be in float. HP points could go way beyond 127. I don't think I specifically used signed 8-bit integer in like a gameplay context or system context. Unless some very specific gameplay had, I don't know, a value, for example, of no, I cannot really find a reason to use that in my regular day-to-day work. No, I don't think I found a use for signed 8-bit integer, at least for my work. The only thing I am thinking right now is if I had like some parameter, for example, let's say hydration for survival character, right? And the design stated that you can have a positive and negative value of it, right? And we knew that we only had like 20 points of hydration, or minus 20 points for hydration. 0 is when your character is not losing health, but dehydrated, and when you go into the negative zone, your character actually receives damage, and the positive zone, of course, you receive buffs. This is the only thing gameplay wise I would think I would be using something like this. But even then, I would need to know from, I would be inquiring designer like, why do you need integer? Can we just use float? We will for sure be dealing with some debuffs, 0.5 values, etc. So even in that case, I would say I would use just a float. No. Yes, exactly. You're right, Toby1364. This seems like an optimization I would make in the 80s. Exactly. The only like a real life reason I am thinking about using signed 8-bit integer is if I was coding something super specific to a hardware that has hardcore limitation, like some toy for a kid that needs to be assembled from like a super cheap parts, and you only have like, I don't know, 128 kilobytes of memory, right? That's where I would be using it, but I don't work with toys, so yeah, this seems like an optimization I would make in the old days. Today, I'm sure people from graphics programming might find a use for that within graphics programming, because I'm not a renderer programmer, but when I was talking with them, and when I was talking with Tech Arts, they are doing some things with that in shaders and in calculations. Signed 8-bit integers, unsigned 8-bit integers, they are assigning values and interpreting. I know that they do have some crazy tricks around that. But other than that, yeah, unless the hardware target will require me to do such hardcore optimization, I don't think I would use that. I would just use unsigned 8-bit integer, or just the regular 32 or 64-bit integer. Yeah. Okay, let me get back out of my confusion. I have a brush actor that draws into virtual texture, right? I have my virtual texture that is here. And I have my landscape that samples render target, but I'm missing a link between. I don't sample this real-time virtual texture, so how the hell I'm missing a spot here? Let me watch that video again without audio. Yes, he's assigning real-time texture to volume, and I think I did it as well, right? Yes, I have virtual texture in here. Correct. And then the guy set bounds, of course, I do that. And on the cube, he assigns his brush material. That is just a regular color. Right? he did something weird, because the guy and his brush, he actually created real runtime virtual texture output in here, and that's where he did the radial gradient exponential and assigned it to here and here, and he used that color in here. That is something weird, but okay, let's follow along. Yeah, then he did all of that setup. I did that, but I wonder if it will work in the editor time. And it uses that material, of course. That's what I did. Then okay, in this, no, in this material, he uses none of that. He actually has it as translucent, right? He sets up the color in here, sets it to white. Let's follow along as he does it, right? And then he RVT color. Okay, runtime. I don't even have this kind of node. What the hell? Okay. Runtime. Virtual texture sample parameter. Is this thing? Okay. But it is a parameter and I want runtime. Okay. I think I want that. And base color as opacity. And texture coordinate. Okay. Texture coordinate and UVs. And here we will sample the runtime virtual texture. I think I start to get what he is doing here. With the brush, he is drawing into the virtual texture. And he uses this material just to visualize the brush. Okay. He's using this to write into the texture. Then he's using here to sample it. The virtual texture and output it into material. And this material is being used where exactly? Wait. This is that landscape material. Which is this? No. Ah, I don't have one. Okay. Toby says, more like 32K bit with the 16-bit CPU and the other 32K addresses for hardware interaction. Yeah, you're right. You can drop the numbers when reading my name. Okay, I will. I will. Not a problem. But yeah, such integer will be in hardcore optimization. I don't think I had to think about such thing ever outside of university. I'll be honest. What the hell is going on? Okay, and now we will create the... We have brush, we have render... Wait. It should be named the other way, because right now it is render target. Sorry, draw to render target, because that will be used to draw into render target. Will be, and we crashed the engine. Woo woo woo! The first one today. Okay. Tassin Khan says, bro, I made a game for Game Jam. Bro, what kind of game is this? And which Game Jam did you participate in? Is Global Game Jam? No, it's in the December from what I understand. From what I remember, right? What kind of Game Jam was that? And what was the main theme of the Game Jam? Will it open all of my assets, or... Yeah, it will. Great. I was afraid it will crash somewhere along the way. Let's open that up. Yes, and it is draw to render target. And it is taking my render target and outputting it into opacity. Okay. And... and what else? Yeah, and then we create a regular landscape material. I love that song. A landscape with render target, where we just take our render target landscape, we sample it, and I would say landscape coordinates. That's how it should work out. And let's use RVT render target. What's going on? Yeah, because it's a wrong material. That is the material that I wanted to use. Great. Toby says, why when I do like 100% zoom my FPS drop to like 8? That is a good question. Why would FPS drop when you are zooming into something? If anything, it should increase, right? Because you're just focusing on a tiny thing. Other things should not be rendered. Do you think SDL2 renders also off the screen? Yeah, that's what I started to think. Like in regular renderer, when you zoom into something, other things that are not rendered should not be processed at all. Like within the first iteration of trying to check what should be rendered, it should be called. And if that's not the case, I would try to check if those things are rendered. I'm not really sure. I never used SDL2, so I'm not sure how to check that, but that's what I would troubleshoot. That Make sure that the objects are not rendering off screen, because that might be a pain in the butt. Or, or no, it doesn't make sense. I was thinking about the zooming algorithm, that maybe something is wrong there, but with the camera, but it shouldn't drop the FPS to 8. So yeah, probably there is a bug, and for some reason you might not only render things outside of screen, but render way more than you were zoomed out. I would try to find the bug if it isn't the case that you are rendering the whole world at the same time. I remember a friend, when he was doing his own custom renderer, rasterizing renderer, he had some cases like this when he made an error, and when he was thinking he only renders a part of scene, actually he was rendering the whole scene, even outside of camera frustum, right? But what if I have a rectangle and I zoom to the corner of it? How would I stop rendering the rest of it? That's a good question that I unfortunately don't have answer to. I never been a rendering programmer. But to be honest, if you just only have a rectangle with the four vertices, and a texture between 4 vertices, it shouldn't cost that much graphics wise. Even if you render, if you will render those 3 other vertices of the plane, but it will just not show up on the screen. It shouldn't be high cost. So if even in such case you have a rectangle and you zoom in on the corner of it and you already have a FPS drop with 4 vertices, then I don't know what might be the problem. I would probably start with like, what was this tool name? There is one NVIDIA Insights, but you have to register NVIDIA account for that. So that might be a problem. And the other one was RenderDoc, of course, RenderDoc. I would use RenderDoc. First of all, I would launch a tutorial how to use it, because I haven't used RenderDoc in a long time. And then I would try to see what's going on in the problematic frame. RenderDoc should be able to tell you that, hey, this and this is taking that much of your frame time. This is the amount of memory you are taking, and you should be able to work out at least a theory why zooming on the simple rectangle drops the FPS to 8. Toby says, well, it's not like I have the need to zoom in for letters to be so big, only one fits on the screen. Yeah, that's true. You don't need that kind of zoom. Not at all. Not at all. Okay, so I right now have my landscape with RVT that just samples my my render target. I have my runtime virtual texture here that I'll be sampling from. And I have my brush that writes to virtual texture. I have set up everything in here, I think, at least. Yep, the bounds are set up. So the only thing left is really figuring out drawing the blueprint part of things. Let's figure that out. So, in theory, I should clear render target always on. Oh my god. What was the name of my render target? It was this, right? Yeah. And then draw material. I don't like doing it on tick, but okay. And the material is my RVT. No, what? I'm RVT. Brush, in my opinion. No. It should be this. Draw to render target. Because this is the material that samples the render target. And brush is the one that writes into render target. But I'm missing the connection where the position info of my cube somehow translates into this. I am missing this logical piece of information. What people say in the comments? People in the comments says that it works for them. So, okay. Let's try that out. Let's spawn my blueprint. Let's play. Let's actually detach. Let's find my brick. It is right here. And is it doing anything? Not really. It's doing completely nothing. Yeah. That's how it is with tutorials sometimes. So, yeah. Let me get back to the chat. And get back to the tutorial once again. How is this guy doing it? Exactly. Once again. Material. I have it set up. Yeah. I did that part of this. Let me put it up here. I created material, brush material with the color and shit. I did exactly that. I created the runtime virtual texture. I created the render target. I did that. I also clicked through the blueprint and stuff. There's the real-time virtual texture on the blueprint, right? The landscape blueprint. Oh my god. Lightning also off. This also off. Yes. Yes, drawing catch. Yeah, I did exactly that. Where was this tutorial? The bounds are set. There's a blush. Yeah, real-time which though is my BP brush actor. Is it Maybe that's the... No, it has RVT drawing catch, drawing main pass never. Everything is set up correctly, right? And the same thing is happening here. Yes, it is. Okay, let's get back to this thing. Then he creates a landscape material and draw to real-time to render target. Draw to render target should be translucent, and it is in my case as well. Where the hell is it? Draw to render target. Yes, it is translucent. And it is hooked up to emissive color and opacity as he did. And he's using texture coordinate. That is something interesting. And yes, he's sampling the real-time virtual texture. I will use landscape coordinate because before, for drawing, for painting a landscape, the texture coordinate didn't work out for me. So let's use that. And once again, base color, yes, UV. Did he click any specific thing? No. Now he's working on the landscape. He's hooking up the render target to base color. He did something that changed his whole stuff to black. Let's hear what he says in here.
Material and connect it to the base color. Assign the landscape material. Open up the RVT catcher blueprint. On begin play.
No, I did exactly like he did.
You're nearly done. Increase the resolution and disable texture compression. In the character cube, set draw in main path to never. This hides the cube. Now you can drop this height. The cube, set draw in main path to...
Okay. But it doesn't work out for me. I have it exactly set up as he does. But let me double check that. We have the color to our cube. We have radial gradient exponential without anything attached to it. And it just... That is a weird stuff that I don't get.
Never. This
I don't think that is right.
Texture output and plug a radial gradient into the base color and opacity. Create a runtime virtual texture. Call it RVT catcher. Also create a runtime texture. Call this RT catcher. Adjust the size to your liking. Create a runtime virtual texture volume and convert it to a blueprint.
Yeah.
This step is very important. Call it BP RVT catcher. Assign the RVT catcher to your blueprint. Hit the asset picker and click the landscape.
I did that.
Hit the bounce button. Assign the brush material to your character cube. Also assign the RVT catcher to it.
I did that.
Make a landscape material and a second material, which draws into your runtime texture. Call it Draw to RT. In the Draw to RT material, set the blend mode to translucent. Add a white color to the emission. Add a runtime virtual texture parameter to the opacity. Assign the RVT catcher. Drag the RT capture into the landscape material and connect it to the base color. Assign the landscape material. Open up the RVT catcher blueprint. On begin play, clear the rendered RT catcher. Great job, you're nearly done.
Yeah, I did all of this stuff. So let's get back to it in here. Let's unhook. First of all, draw in main pass doesn't really, the setting for that doesn't really work out. None of this stuff works out. Okay, BP I don't need this anymore. I don't need this. I don't need this. I don't need this. I need my brush actor. It clearly does that. Draw and main pass. I have never. Right now I'm kind of troubleshooting what might be going on that doesn't work out for my end. This whole thing shouldn't be visible. Okay. And I should be able to draw something. Maybe my landscape is not set up properly. I need to select landscape. Okay, selection, landscape. Landscape once again. Paint. Yeah, I don't have layers set up. But it shouldn't be a problem because I'm not really painting in the landscape. I'm using the render target of the texture. I'm using this landscape material that samples from render target landscape. And my brush actor should write to texture render target. But that's the thing that is like that's the thing that like I don't understand right now when it comes to the connection between render target, real-time virtual texture, and the world position of my object. I don't really pass any information about my brush actor in the world. Toby asks, do you like the taste of minerals and chlorine gas dissolved in dihydrogen monoxide? Why chlorine gas? Yeah, I understand the H2O, but chlorine gas? I'm not sure. I'm probably missing something in translation. So let me quickly check. Let me quickly check. I'm not sure if I translated it. Okay, yes, this chlorine gas. Yes, because I typed it into the Google to translate it for me and to see it in Polish, and I was like, okay, in Polish it translates to something completely different. But yeah, chlorine is added to tap water to kill bacteria. The taste of minerals. I like the taste of minerals in my water, but when I always get a little bit creeped out either when I get under the shower or I just pour in the tap water and I smell the chlorine gas. I'm like, I know it kills bacteria. I wonder what it does to my gut bacteria. And I'm always wondering, like, yeah, I understand why they are doing it, but I'm always a little bit creeped out by it. I'll be honest. Okay, why it might not be working out? Because I'm using this material to draw to my render target. My render target is, I believe, set up properly. Toby says, I don't like the taste, but it's harmless. Oh, if it's harmless, then okay. I'm not a big fan of the taste either. In my side of the time, they don't use it as much as where I used to live like a year ago. There was a big, you could literally taste it. Right now here I don't taste it as much. Or my my tongue got messed up and I just don't taste this at all, and it's still there. Neither landscape coordinates or texture coordinates. I feel like I'm missing a link here. Either this guy didn't posted it, or what people are no one seems to Toby says, you can get a carbon filter, but if you don't want to replace it every 6 months, you can get a reverse osmosis filtration system. Yeah, I have a carbon filter right here. That's probably answers the questions why I don't taste the chlorine anymore. I do have a carbon filter, or sometimes when I want to treat myself, I am buying like a bottle of spring water. Here in Poland it is very popular, although lots of plastic is being used to transport that. So when I can find a glass bottle of spring water, it's also cool. But yeah, everything is poisonous at a big enough dosage, but there is also harmless dosage. Yeah, that's 100% true. I'm not really understanding why it doesn't work. Maybe something in the BP RVT volume that I created is not set up properly, but no, the bounds are set up properly. The virtual texture is here correctly. And yet landscape has this material, and this material uses landscape coordinates. It samples my render target and outputs the base color. I want specular at 0 actually. Roughness can be at 1. Or maybe I want specular at 1. Whatever it is being done, I don't care, because I just want to write into my render target, which is what happens with the brush actor. But I still kind of don't see, like, okay, render target. What can I do here with the render target? Maybe draw render target. Draw material, begin draw canvas to render target. Okay. Toby says, reverse osmosis filters remove the fluorine though. Fluorine. How do you say it in English? I never said it actually. Fluorine in reverse osmosis filters remove fluorine though. Oh, that's good to know. I'm not sure if reverse osmosis filters are popular in Poland. I never been at someone else's house that used that. Mostly people are buying carbon filters here. That's what I saw most of the time. Do you have a reverse osmosis filter or do you use carbon filter? Okay, so in order to spawn this actor from PCG, I know what I have to do from PCG graph, but right now I can't figure out drawing on this render target or refreshing it or whatever. Like, it just doesn't work for me as they did in the tutorial. So maybe I should like find something. No one is really doing it. Draw landscape RVT. Draw RVT by using blueprint. Yes, another thing. That's not the answer I was looking for. Toby says, there aren't almost everywhere, but we got one. I like the clean taste. They are expensive. Yeah, I can imagine, because you need to install it in your tab, right? You need to install it. Costs between 200 or 400 euros. Oh yeah, that is expensive. But hey, if you like the taste of clean water, then it's all good, right? It's all good. What's not good is that I cannot seem to make it work, and I don't really know how to solve that really. When I'm right now searching it on YouTube, sorry, on Google, I cannot seem to find like a good answer to it. And I think I need to Toby says, you have two separate tabs, one for drinking water, one for distilled water. Oh, okay. Okay. That sounds interesting. Brush actor. Let me once again review and go. Step by step. I created a brush spot that takes the radial gradient, right, and outputs it to runtime virtual texture. Right. This is my brush. Do I have a connection? Do I have a connection between runtime virtual texture output? because I am writing to it, but I haven't selected Okay, so this does that. I think I know where I'm having a missing target. Let me get back to my tests, and there was this RVT test material, right? It was using all of this stuff. Writing into virtual texture, but and it was just used on a world. Okay, so it uses the runtime virtual texture of the thing that it is trying to sample. Okay, so my cube never, and main pass. I think I'm starting to understand where I have a... Yeah, rebuild this stuff while I once again get through that, because I think I see where I have a missing link.
A runtime virtual texture output and plug a radial gradient into the base color and opacity.
Yeah.
Create a runtime virtual texture. Call it RVT catcher. Also create a runtime texture. Call this RT catcher. Adjust the size to your liking. Create a runtime virtual texture volume and convert it to a blueprint. This step is very important. Call it BP RVT catcher.
Blah, blah,
Assign
blah,
the
blah,
RVT
blah.
catcher to your blueprint. Hit the asset picker and click the landscape.
Wait a second. No, it is correct.
Hit the bounce button. Assign the brush material to your character cube. Also assign the RVT catcher to it. Make a landscape material and a second material, which draws into your runtime texture. Call it Draw to RT. In the Draw to RT material, set the blend mode
I
to
did that.
translucent. Add a white color to the emission. Add a runtime virtual texture parameter to the opacity. Assign the RVT catcher. Drag the RT capture into the landscape material and connect it to the base color. Assign the landscape material. Open up the RVT catcher blueprint. On begin play, clear the render target and assign your RT catcher. On event tick, draw the material to the render target.
I literally did everything as the guy said, so I am missing some step. Toby says, some AI articles don't even try to look real. Laughing my ass off. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Like sometimes I'm just reading through some articles and from the first 4 sentences you're like, is something wrong in here? And you quickly realize, oh yeah, ChatGPT generated this article. Like, it's kind of funny because I remember when the big AI pop-up happened and people were scared of like how we will differentiate between AI and non-AI generated stuff, and right now most of the people are like, oh yeah, this image is clearly generated with AI. This article is clearly generated with AI. Hey, I'm not talking to a real person on a chat, it's a ChatGPT, okay. You know what, Toby? The link doesn't show up on my end. The one that you pasted. The link doesn't show up, it just shows 3 star signs. But yeah, right now I don't know what to do with it. Do with my problem. Runtime virtual texture. God damn. I was hoping that I will have a breakthrough right now, but I don't have it. My blueprint brush actor. Tick is happening every time, so I know I am drawing my material into render target, right? And the landscape is trying to view. Should I set up landscape in a specific way? Toby asks if I got Discord. No, I haven't got Discord connected or set up in any way. But you can type in on what page I should find that stuff, right? I can search for it on Google or something. And I will find it. What is my problem in here? I would love to get one of my tech artist friends to help me out with this, because right now I am stumped. I know that I'm doing this. My render target is just that. It's okay. My draw to render target. Let's look at this material. Whatever, it doesn't seem to work with any of these. It samples my RVT drawing catch and outputs the opacity, and also has an emissive color to that, right? Yeah, it doesn't matter which one I hook. Landscape coordinates. What about YouTube chat? Yeah, I have a YouTube account. I'm not sure if I can paste links there either. Let me quickly get into YouTube chat. I also have a YouTube streaming. Let me quickly drop a link to that. Yeah, it works. Let me quickly type in. Just search the intersection of electric vehicles and building fire safety system. First link. Okay, let's do this. The FC fire prevention, right? Oh my god! Let me show you guys what I'm seeing. Immediately, AI images. Yep. Like, oh, these cars are merged together. Something wonky happening here. Yeah. And if I were to guess if those pictures are generated with AI, I have a high suspicion that all of this text is also generated by ChatGPT. Or what was the Microsoft version? Gemini is Google Copilot, right? Yeah, it can be this. Okay, so I'm sampling my real-time virtual texture in here, and I am texture sampling my render target in here. I am writing to my render target in here with my material. And that's great. And the only thing that I'm missing in here really is how does my brush actor connect to real-time virtual texture? From what I understand, when I selected cube and I selected runtime virtual texture here, then it should be rendered on this virtual texture while playing, right? So, okay, just to make my troubleshooting easier, let me quickly delete all of this. It might be my first stream where I end with a failure, that I wasn't able to overcome some problem. Which would also be a life lesson, that sometimes you just gotta hit the pause button, take a day off or something, and then come back to it later. And then you will be able to fix it immediately. That's been also a regular shit for me. I've been working in my day job, working on a game, doing something, it just doesn't work. I'm spending 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. There's some problem that I cannot see. The work ends at like 5 or 6 p.m. I go back to my regular life, pause for a little bit, then go back next day, refreshed, and I solve it in 5 minutes. That's the usual shit happening for me in game development life. And from what I know, my colleagues have the same exact issue. So sometimes it is wise to drop the problem for a hot second, maybe do some other work, come back to it, oh, it's fixed. So, right now I have a problem with taking a cube that is supposed to draw in real-time virtual texture, which is being sampled in material, and output to render target. So it goes like this. I have a cube that draws in my real-time virtual texture. This is my real-time virtual texture, right? It renders in here, right? Yes, draw in virtual texture. This is where we draw the mesh for this actor. And his material is set up in such spot that in regular main pass, it outputs this orange color. Maybe that's what I messed up. Maybe I should have set it as opaque. If that is an error, I'll be laughing my ass off. And that was the problem. Nope. This isn't the problem. So, but anyway, my brush actor has a cube that has a proper material that tries to constantly draw in virtual textures. I set up the virtual texture in which it tries to render, draw into. The material also needs to be set up to output to a virtual texture. But wait, I remember something being done with material attributes, that when I clicked, I was like, use material attributes, and create, no, material attributes, make material attributes, right? Not that. Make material attributes, right? I was just putting it in here, like 0 for what? 0 for metallic, maybe half for roughness, right? And that was being put in here. Wait a second, let me get back to my real-time virtual test material with the switch, the one with the switch. And then it was out, I was writing into the virtual texture, and then I was sampling it and outputting it here. Okay, but I was first and foremost writing into the runtime virtual texture. Okay, so it should work out. And it was, domain was surface and everything, right? Opaque material, yeah. So. So I think that I have set up correctly, right? My brush actor draws into virtual texture. I selected RVT drawing catch as a virtual texture and never draw in main pass. I don't want to see this in a main pass, which should hide it. It doesn't hide it. That's the first problem. Maybe there's a bug. Maybe I am setting up something improperly. Yeah, RVT drawing catch, drawing main pass. Okay. To get back to the paint. So I have this cube that draws into RVT. Then I am sampling this RVT, right, into material that is then being used to output things into render target, right? Am I right or am I wrong? Let's take that. Not really. I have this draw to render target. I'm using runtime virtual texture sample. I am sampling it. It is the same thing that I am using in my brush actor, right? RVT drawing catch, and to make sure RVT drawing catch, everything is the same, unless I'm using bad node. NCB of all gains says, I'm back. Hi, nice to have you back here. I have only these nodes. Runtime texture replace, sample and sample parameter. And sample parameter is a param for instance. So that's not a good thing. Oh. Yeah. So yeah, absolute world position. That's how I want to sample it. I'm sampling this virtual texture and outputting as opacity. And I have this emissive color and the base color. Wait. No, I set it up correctly. Right? He set it as translucent at some point. Let me get back to... Yeah. Just translucent shit.
Assign the landscape material.
Okay. So, yes, I do exactly that. I have a cube, it draws an RVT, then I sample this RVT as a material and output it as a opacity with some base color attached, and then I use that exact material to draw material to render target. This is my render target, and that render target is being sampled in material that is being used on landscape. So what am I messing up? Landscape with RVT? Landscape with RVT, with RT. Let me click it once again because maybe I did something. Yes, and it is sampling the runtime texture that I am writing to. It does do that. And it does
tick, draw the
But wait, he didn't
base
hook up any UV
landscape
coordinates.
material.
That is my problem? If this is this one link, I'll be laughing my ass off. Where is my BP brush actor? Here it is. Let's get back to it. It didn't stop rendering, but does it paint anything? Not really. It does absolutely nothing, but does the tick work? Yes, it does. It constantly ticks and tries to draw into the render target that is being sampled here. Oh my god. So, where lies the problem? I won't even get to the PCG if that's the case. Let's drop the specular value to 0. Clear color is, of course, black. That's great. There are a couple of things that are troubling me in here. One of those things is when I said that the whole thing should never render in main pass, it should never render really, but it is still on screen. So I have a problem with that.
To never. This hides the cube. Now you can draw like me.
This doesn't hide the cube in my case. Not only it doesn't hide the cube, it literally does nothing. It should be drawing into the render target, but it isn't. I'm sad because it was supposed to work out 1 minute and 30 seconds. Yeah, that's why I do these streams. Right now I have to troubleshoot why something that the guy is showing working is not working in that case. And I just troubleshooted that I set it up in the exact same way as he did. Yet it didn't work out. Toby says, my classmates are useless. When I ask if there is any homework from any subject, their answer is just some iteration of, I don't know, let's hope not. Yeah, I've been there. I've been there. It's like, okay, you are trying to know, was there something to do? And they're like, I don't know, we'll see. And you're basically fucked. Yeah, that's where I, at some point when it was messing me up and I was seeing that I cannot rely on people with that information, I just started writing everything on my own. Like, hey, if there is a homework or something, I need to write it on my own. Otherwise, stuff might happen like that and it will be a problem. Yeah. I have this texture stretched out over whole landscape right now, right? This guy didn't put in the coordinates. And I didn't too. Whether I place in coordinates or not, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't work at all. Here I am sampling this virtual texture that I am drawing into with my brush actor constantly. With every tick I am drawing into it. But my draw to render target, I guess, outputs nothing because there is nothing. I see that this texture is just freaking empty. Because something with the cube, using draw in virtual textures and setting it up in here. It's just something doesn't work out here. For some reason, this option doesn't work for me. Like, I'm not drawing anything into my virtual texture. That's why I think I am sampling nothing. Regardless of what kind of coordinates I will hook up in here, I am sampling nothing. I am really sampling nothing. I am also an idiot. Wait, am I an idiot? Toby says, I go to a school for electrical engineering. Why the hell do we have classes for financial literacy? Oh yeah, I also went for electrical engineering. And I remember we also had we had a different system. We had like a we had a system when we were able to kind of sort of choose the classes for ourselves, but some of those were required and some of those were like, hey, you need to, in this semester, take 4 classes outside of engineering curriculum, right? And these are the subjects that you can choose from. And some of them were head scratches, like, why the hell would I need that? And when it comes to financial literacy, I don't know exactly the curriculum for that, but they might be expecting that, you know, you'll be setting up your own company at some point, and at least that's how I would set up that. Okay, I expect that some of my engineers might be, if I was a teacher, starting their own companies, startups, etc. They should know a thing or two about credits, about taxes that the company pays, etc., etc. That's why I would set it up. But I don't know the curriculum of the financial literacy class that you have, right? Is this just some basic bullshit that has no connection to electrical engineering, or? Ah, okay, Toby says, then the teacher has no fucking idea what she is doing because we are basically learning the history of economics. Yeah, in that case, that it is kind of bullshitty because the information that I would think will be helpful for you would be how to set up a company. What are the types of companies? What are the taxes that you are paying? How the taxes brackets change depending on how many people you employ? How to apply for a credit when you are a company to support the startup? How to I don't know, connect with venture capitalists, etc., etc. That shit would make sense, right? Yeah, as you said, Toby, it would make sense, but learning history of economics, like, okay, if you're interested, you are able to read it on your own, like if you want to understand where does money come from and stock market, etc., but you don't need that knowledge to set up the goddamn company, right? Or a startup or something like this. Like, why do you care how things were carried out in New York in 1800, right? Or beginning of 1900s to know how to do things today. I'm thinking, Toby says, I'm thinking of going to some kind of material science university. I'm not exactly sure what material science university is. To be honest, like, what is that? What kind of curriculum does this kind of university has? I went to Warsaw University of Technology, which has like lots of departments, and departments that I chose was electrical engineering and information technology. And although I don't use that knowledge on the day-to-day basis, but it allowed me to learn how to learn quickly. And it opened up a lot of doors. Like, I could choose game development like I did, or I could have chosen, for example, going into acoustics, or maybe cameras, or maybe, you know, working at AMD and CPU. Like, this kind of thing opened a lot of doors, right? And I got to choose. Toby says, anything in the direction of material science. Didn't look into it yet. Basically chemistry with solids, metals, refining and stuff. Oh, that kind of stuff. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Yeah. I bet that would be a very interesting curriculum. You would know a lot of stuff thanks to that. And one of the benefits of going through university with the broad curriculum, like the one that you are describing or the one I went through, is then you can read articles or talk to people and spot out bullshit easily. Because, for example, when it comes to electrical engineering on CPUs, you might read a lot of articles that are claiming something from magazines that are supposed to hire specialists, and then you know that what they are saying is actually not true because you were in the lab and you were testing something on your own, and you were like, that's not how this type of memory works or how anything works, right? We don't even have chemistry on our school currently, Toby says. That's probably why I like it. School didn't ruin it for me. Oh yeah, that opens a cans of worms for me. I hate schooling system. I'll be honest, I am a big hater of it. Like, I always felt when I was at school, it was a wasted time for me because the classes were over 30 people and I was not able to concentrate in the classroom on hard science topics. But I was able to concentrate on, like, you know, Polish lessons, history lessons, English lessons. So most of the teachers thought, you know, that maybe I'm into humanities. Maybe I don't have what it makes to be a scientist or be a good science person. The only thing that was going in the direct opposition of that idea was that I was good with computers, right? And learning programs, etc. And it turns out that if I was after school and I had, that was so-called in Poland, korki, which was additional lessons that your parents could buy for you if you were sucking at the subject, like mathematics for me in school. It turns out that no, if I was alone in the house one-on-one with teacher, I was getting through the week worth of material in 1 hour. It's just the environment of school wasn't that great for me because someone just standing in front of the board and talking wasn't doing it for me. And so I liked, you know, some of the social aspects of school, but it was a waste of time. I had to do the double duty at home and learn there. And only at university I started really, you know, learning, and I started really profiting off of getting knowledge, because at university they were like, listen, you will learn mostly on your own. We are just here to guide you and we won't bullshit you. And I like that. I really like that. So yeah, I totally relate to you and the school not ruining the chemistry for you. The school almost ruined physics and mathematics for me, But I was saying that, okay, at school I suck at math and physics, but at home I am good at it. So it's probably not something wrong with me, it's more with the schooling system, right? And then it turned out to be true at university. It turns out, oh yeah, I can do maths, I can do physics. It's actually, I do have a talent for that. It's just schooling system sucked. And if I was going along with what teachers would be saying, I wouldn't end up in game development and I wouldn't end up happy. So yeah, there's that. Toby says, I despise it, but it lets me not pay tax yet, so I'm fine. Yeah, that's one of the reasons to do it. In Poland, before a couple of bills got introduced into our law, people were going to universities to avoid involuntary, how is it called in English? Basically, you would have to go serve in a military for like a year or two. And people wanted to involuntary draft or something like this, and people were going to universities mostly because of that. Toby says, I learned programming and a lot of math in primary school on my own, and now I'm bored out of my mind in the school. Yeah. I get you. And it's good that you learned programming and a lot of math on your own, because I don't trust school to learn maths. I had lots of friends that were saying like, I suck at math, math isn't for me, or logical scientific thinking, and I was like, no, you are good with that, because when we are talking money or music or organization, you are logical, and with money operations you are great. Or for example, thinking in, how do you translate it into English? Thinking in 3D space, right? People were amazing at that, but just when they were forced into the school doing these tasks in front of the whiteboard, they weren't good. Because I don't think that's a way to learn mathematics or programming. It's more one-on-one. Toby says, I learned a lot of electrical engineering on my own, and when the teacher is explaining something I already learned, she does it in such a roundabout way, even I have no idea what is she trying to say. Yeah, I relate to it so much. Oh my god. I relate to it so much. When I was at school, someone was explaining quadratic equations, for example, right? And I was sitting there really not being able to grasp what was going on, right? Then after school, my parents were like, all right, you're a dumbass, we will pay for this teacher to at least help you pass the classes, right? And then I sit down and the teacher one-on-one was able to explain it to me. Or I was able to sit down, read the definitions on my own, and I was like, this is way simpler than this teacher was trying to explain. And yeah, that shit happens often. Our programming teacher is also awful. Yeah, that's another conundrum for the education system. Like, it's great that they are trying to teach programming in schools, but the problem is that the best programmers are out there being hired by companies with the big bucks, right? Or they are doing something on their own. They are doing startups. They are doing streams, etc., etc. And when the school will approach them, they'll be like, "Hey, would you like to teach kids how to program?" The programmer will be like, "Okay, but how much will you pay me? 5% of what you are earning right now?" Nah, get the fuck out. So most of the teachers, the good teachers that are teaching programming in a good way, are the guys that are truly there because, I don't know, they feel the responsibility of it, but others just won't come because they won't be able to afford the living, right? So unfortunately, all the students have to learn programming on their own. Oh, Barabash is here. Hi, Barabash. Toby says he despised printf. We are all forced to use cout. Ah, I love that. And I guess he didn't give a reason why you shouldn't use printf, right? Even though it is a perfectly valid way to print things out, right? Also, no way you will see a language younger than 40 years old. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I remember, I think it was in high school when me and my buddy from class, we went to like this extra curriculum for programming, and we saw that we basically were following a tutorial how to make a chess in C++ using some kind of compiler or whatever, a chess game or checkers game or whatever, and we followed the tutorial in like first 2 hours. It was kind of working, troubleshooted a couple of problems, it was working, and this was supposed to be a class for the half a year, and we were like, okay, let's go to the next session. Next session, no, we were supposed to still follow the tutorial, and then we were like, but it's just tutorial following, we want to learn coding, not tutorial following. And this wasn't addressed, so we started playing video games like, I don't know, Quake, Free Arena, or Unreal Tournament at the time, because the PCs were also super shitty, so these were the only games that we could run. But they are fine games, don't get me wrong, but you know, we're just playing that, and after like 3 classes we decided to quit this extra curriculum because we were learning nothing. And we can follow tutorials on our own in the house, right? Toby says, he, the teacher, always complains, why do I mix C and C++? Those are different languages. Like, what the fuck? C++ is an extension of C, not a different language. Yeah, C++ is meant in such a way, was constructed in such a way that if you copy and paste C code, it's supposed to compile and work. That was the whole idea, that okay, we need something more than C, but the C language always works there. And if you're writing to a specific hardware, using all the mallocs, etc., or doing specific operations that do requires typical C operations, why not? If the guy at least gave you like a good argument for what he's trying to say, that you could at least argue with it, but he's just saying, yeah, don't mix it, those are different languages. And that kind of argument doesn't carry any information of why not. He's saying, why? Because I say so. It won't let you do certain stuff with null pointers like in C, but otherwise the same. I mean, yeah, of course there are differences between C++ and C, right? But that's not what the guy is saying. He's just saying, don't use that, those are different languages. Carry on. He doesn't say why he doesn't like you mixing the C within the code that you are making, right? If he at least offered an argument for that, then we would be talking. And if he's just saying different languages and that's it, then we cannot be talking about that. Okay, what time is it? It's 2. I need to end soon, and I have no clue why it doesn't work. But I had before we started hating on schools, I could have the whole stream dedicated on school hating and education system hating. But the thing is, I was trying to think what would work better, and I haven't found out anything that would work better. Like when it comes to like a national, statewide system. It is a super hard problem. Toby says, he absolutely hates when I sneak in a malloc, but I love doing it. I mean, I'll be honest, when I work with Unreal, I don't use malloc at all because I have all those smart pointers and memory management offered by Unreal. But if you are working on your own custom code doing very specific thing, then yeah, why not? Why not? I saw you, Barabash, in here. Barabash, how are you doing? How is your Sunday? How are your animals? Meanwhile, I will try to once again look into something. Maybe I misclicked one thing, and if I lost 2 hours of my life because of that, it will be funny. No, it is.
Assign the RVT catcher. Drag the RT catcher.
Yeah, it was base color for opacity. and the material that I'm drawing with into the runtime texture is just outputting white, radiant, gradient, exponential into base color and opacity. So I have base color information. Barabar says, raise teacher, Toby says, raise teacher pay. I agree. This will help out with burnout. This will help out with good teachers, good specialists coming in, trying to teach something, right? And Barabar says, I know what can work better. Actual coders teaching whoever is interested on live stream, but still making lots of money in their normal jobs. Okay, Barabar. I mean, I would love to do some code dedicated streams, but I don't feel confident in my streaming abilities to make it fun. That's the first thing. And second thing, I've been asked a lot by my friends, hey, could you do like coding for dummies streams? We would all love that. And I'm like, yeah, but it would take me 2 years to develop such course, because it has to be, there has to be a reason and logic for why we are starting with specific things and why we are going through specific things. And I always like to use metaphor of drawing. When you are learning how to draw and you start with basics, you kind of see how you go from the basics of drawing into drawing what you want to draw, like characters or landscapes or specific objects, etc. But when you are starting with C or C++ and you are basically learning how computer works and how memory works and basics of algorithms, etc., it is hard to see the link between that and coding a MOBA game, right? Or whatever, or Souls-like game. And I have an idea of how I could go about solving the problem, but it would take 2 years of development to start such a course and start streaming it. Barabar says, I'm tired and I just recently woke up. Oh my god! Dude, it's 2 p.m. in Poland and you just woke up? God damn. What was going on? Were you partying or playing some video game till the late hours? What was going on there? Toby says, start with assembly. Yeah! If I would be doing this kind of streams, I would either start with assembly and some simple processor. Like, I would try, I think at university we were doing something for Z80, and there was like a virtual machine for that or something. Or start with C. But that's the thing, like I remember talking with artists that was interested in that, and I started talking about learning how memory works, memory banks, etc. They were interested. And then I talked with another artist and I was saying, yeah, that's what I would start with. They were like, this is the most boring fucking thing ever. Just teach me how to code, how to do scripts, etc. And I'm like, okay. You always have to, the best learning of engineering and coding is going from the bottom to the top, right? Starting from assembler C and then through the course of learning going to scripting. But I get that the people want to see awesome shit on the screen, like headshots, character moving around, etc. This is very hard to merge those two things together, right? Toby says, I remember waking up at 14 and going to sleep at 5 during the holidays. Yeah, I also remember this type of lifetime. Barabar says, I stayed up until 3 a.m. trying to figure out why I couldn't rebuild my UE project after migrating it from 5.4 to 5.5. What's interesting is both 5.4 and 5.5 couldn't be rebuilt and launched. Oh, really? Huh. Are you using the Unreal Epic Games Store version of Unreal, or are you downloading the source from GitHub, branching the source from GitHub and building from there? And were you changing anything in the engine? Because if you did, then there might be some merge error. And another question to you, Barabash, are you rebuilding with Rider or Visual Studio or whatever, or are you building with the Epic Game Builder? Toby says, that's why school starts with C++ and no context for any functions we are using and why are certain things like they are the way they are. Yeah, exactly. Schools are starting with C++, you have no context for anything, and sink or swim, right? The couple of people that are already interested, they will benefit from those lessons. The other people will be like, this is the most boring shit ever. Even if they would have what it takes to become an awesome programmer, right? It kills the interest in the subject for them. I remember being in high school and seeing, and even at university, and seeing a couple of people that I knew they would be good at this, because talking to them I could see their creativity and the way their mind works. They would be way better than I am. And because of the way that the subject is being taught, they just don't want to interact with it. And I'm like, fuck. I had the same shit with, for example, even humanities subjects like history. I used to hate history because it was only learning about dates, when event happened, not why event happened, how it is connected to the culture of a given country, what was the international situation, etc., etc. And I only started being interested more in history like a couple of years ago, when I started reading on my own and seeing it in a different way. But it was never presented in school in that way. It was presented in such a way that it would be easy to test and easy to grade, not easy to understand, right? Toby says, I already am a programmer and I think this is the most boring shit ever. Yeah, those classes tend to be awful. That's why whenever someone tells me, yeah, do a stream on how to start coding, I'm like, okay, but how to make it interesting without killing any interest? That's something that I haven't figured out. So when I feel confident about it, I will start doing, you know, basic coding, basic engineering streams, because that I know that it would be awesome. Barabar says, I've been using Visual Studio because I've had to include the C++ class in my project. Okay, so you are building with that, I think, and is the solution not compiling, or the solution is compiling but then you cannot launch the project and it tells you some bullshit reason for that? Because those are two different things. Toby says, Einstein said that the school made him hate physics so much that he didn't look at the math problem for a whole year after finishing school. Yeah, if you watch the Oppenheimer movie, there's this funny dialogue there where Einstein says that the only thing that he and Oppenheimer agrees on is and find in common is they hate for mathematics because of the way it was being taught at school, and they hate mathematics. Yeah. Yeah, and also when I was watching The Wire, they also amazingly show how American school, and from my experience I can also say that the Polish school, are mostly being set up to create curriculums that would be easy to grade and easy to pass the grading information, create tests, and create this illusion of something happening when it comes to grading, and that maybe someone is a good student because they have good grades, someone is a bad student because they have bad grades. And I think we all know people that had good grades, and you know that there is a problem with intelligence there, to put it lightly. And then you know the students that had bad grades but they were intelligent as fuck. They were just completely disinterested in the subject because they were doing something awesome on their own, right? We all know this type of deal. So all the grades, etc., are bullshit, but unfortunately we are graded for that, and that's how you make it to the university or not. So this whole thing is messed up. Toby says, the teacher I had the first year in high school didn't use tabs or white spaces between lines. Her code was extremely unreadable. Yeah, I remember in university we were sometimes we're graded on the code that we're writing, but the code we are writing was on paper with pencil. And if you made the tiniest mistake, you know, like regular, either compiler would tell you that you messed up something, or IDE would highlight that, hey, you made a typo, hey, you made something, and you would correct it. But our teacher was like, no, this wouldn't compile. And the guy was like, give me an IDE and I will give you a great code. And the guy was like, no, you're supposed to write code in pencil and paper and it's supposed to work exactly how it's supposed to work. And I'm like thinking, are we in the 1940s? No. So why the fuck would I ever write code that is supposed to run on paper? Not with the IDE. What the fuck is going on? Yeah, programming on paper is wonderful. Exactly. Exactly. Like writing pseudocode just to work out some algorithm or heuristic or a problem. Yeah, sure. But being tasked with writing, for example, 200 or 500 lines of code by hand on a paper with a pencil is asinine. Travis Bragg. Hi. Barabbas, you didn't answer my question. I hope you're still here. I don't think I will be able to solve this problem that I have right now. I had a wonderful chat, but I haven't solved the problem. It is the first stream where I am like, okay, this stream will end with the failure, me not overcoming the obstacle. This is the, like in anime, in shonen anime, this is the episode where Naruto Goku gets beaten down and you have to wait for the next episode to see him try to train and overcome this issue. This is that moment of the story arc. I've been beaten down today because I am trying to render, I'm trying to draw into the real-time virtual texture and then use that real-time virtual texture and sample it and put it into a render target and then use that render target as a landscape material to draw on a landscape, and it doesn't work. And I think the only thing I was able to narrow down is that most probably there's something wrong with my setup that wasn't shown in the tutorial when it comes to my brush. Because basically, by clicking virtual texture, draw in virtual textures and selecting my real-time virtual, runtime virtual texture, this mesh is supposed to draw in this texture. And in the game, when I'm moving it, it's supposed to draw in this texture. And that shit doesn't happen, and I don't know why. I can turn off compression, but I don't think it will work out. Let's see, maybe it will. It will be funny if it will. But tomorrow at work, I will bother one of our tech artists and ask them like, hey, I was trying to draw in real-time virtual runtime virtual texture and it just wasn't happening. Is there some magical boolean or setting that I'm supposed to click on or something hidden in Unreal Engine? Because nothing happens. And that's what I think is a problem here. Because my brush actor ticks every moment and it draws my material into a rendered target, right? My landscape is taking the render target using landscape coordinates to map out and puts it out as a base color, right? So that stuff does work out. My drawing to render target, I believe, you know, my runtime virtual texture is being sampled. The volume is set up all right. So I have to inquire and train offline in order to understand why just clicking the runtime virtual texture here actually Both of those two options don't work for me because draw in main patch is supposed to make the cube not renderable in main pass. I don't know, man. I have to learn more about this. Okay. Baraba says, I'm reinstalling the Virtual Studio. Maybe this will help. I'm not sure if this is the problem with the Visual Studio. But I'm guessing your solution doesn't compile, right? I wonder what kind of errors it throws at you. And were you changing the engine, or there is another possibility. You might be using a plugin that hasn't been merged to 5.5 yet, and that might not compile. Because the regular, like this whole project that I'm having here, was started on 5.4, I migrated to 5.5 with like 2 clicks. And I don't have any non-epic plugins in here. And I didn't edit the engine. Toby says, I have to try punching in the programming homework on punch cards and bring that to school, and the teacher is going to kill me. But I have to try. Wait, I don't think I understand. I have to try punching in the programming homework on punch cards. I'm not sure I understand what does that mean. Punch cards? What is punch cards? It's probably something that escapes me. Let me quickly... That? Ah, okay. I see. Okay. Nice. Sure, but why 5.4 don't want to compile anymore? There is the possibility, I also had this kind of situation, where your intermediate files or the generated code files while you are compiling Unreal Engine got fucked up. That's something that happens from time to time, and I just have to go into intermediate folder, delete every fucking thing there, recompile, and then it works out. Like, yeah, I had to do it like 5 weeks ago, because sometimes it can mess up, especially around merging. Okay, what time is it? Oh, we are getting close to the end of the stream. I'm sorry for not figuring out the problem and that we are ending on a cliffhanger, shonen cliffhanger. I got beaten up by the nemesis. But for sure on the next stream I will try to solve this, or I will gather up the information and train more about why the hell this kind of shit doesn't work out. Because it's supposed to. Is it the 5.5 issue? Maybe that's the case. Maybe there's a bug in 5.5. Or maybe I am missing something crucial that hasn't been touched on in the tutorial. That's what will start the next stream. Toby says, the Apollo source code weighed approximately 115 kilograms. Oh! Nice! I wonder... When I was working at Techland, we were using CEngine and it has a lot of code. And I wonder if we would be able to transfer all of that into punch cards and weight it, how much it would weigh. Or Unreal Engine code. How much it would be. I'm guessing way over a ton. Barabbas, training arc. Will we see Super Ado on the next stream? I don't know. Super Saiyajin Coder 1 or 2? I don't know. Maybe I will just use Kaioken. Or I will learn coding Rasengan. Sage mode. Toby says, punch cards are for source code. Compilation usually goes onto punch tape. Oh, so I wonder if we were waiting both punch tape and punch cards together for the C engine and Unreal Engine and all the engines, how much it would weight. That would be a fine thought experiment. You probably can estimate it, I think. There is a way to estimate it. Okay, so we are ending on the cliffhanger in this shonen anime training arc. I will try to solve this because I won't be able to sleep at night. I know that I will be waking up in 2 a.m. today and be like, fuck, why this option of draw in virtual texture doesn't work? Urgh. I know that will be something that I will be trying to solve at night. Toby asks, how many lines did it have? Too many. Like, easily millions of lines of code. I remember one colleague launched some static analysis tool that was trying to just print out a graph of relations between classes. And I think it was working for a couple of days. And then it printed out such a huge .png or JPEG file that it was unopenable by software. So, yeah, way too much. Were the lines longer than 80 characters? Oh, for sure. 400% sure. Weevil Man says, good luck, dude. Good mindset. Thank you. Yes, we gotta think more like Naruto and Goku when facing these kind of problems. I'm excited to do some training. Oh, fine. Okay, so I hope you have a nice rest of the Sunday and you weren't too bored out of your mind when I was just trying to solve this basic issue. It's funny, the guy had a minute and the 30-second tutorial and I wasted 3 hours trying to recreate what the guy did and it doesn't work. But hey, welcome to real life, right? Real game dev, real problems. So, without further ado, have a great Sunday and great